So the topic that has been given to me is cloud versus on-premises ERP solutions. The distinguished guests and speakers who have been talking before me, they're all talking about cloud. So this would give a little bit of comparison as well as some food for thought as well in terms of how to, if anybody wants to proceed towards the digital transformation journey, as Emma just talked about. So this would give a food for thought in terms of what factors to look at and what areas should we cover. So, yeah, continue please. So just a brief introduction about ABACUS. We are into consulting, outsourcing, technology, and education, and different lines of business, including the ERP. I'll try that. Okay, all right, okay. So we're we're a 34 plus years old organization with 12 offices in 6 countries, and we've got around 1,000 plus clients. Yeah, no, this is not working. Just keep going. Keep going, please. Yeah. Keep moving, please. Keep moving. Yeah. All right, so just a brief about the awards and recognitions. We've been awarded the top Business One and Business by Design partner for the 5th year in a row in the Middle East and North Africa region. This was just a brief introduction, and if this was working, this would have been a lot smoother. Now I come towards the topic, which is the cloud versus on-premises ERP solutions. But before that, as I mentioned, I mean, there are a few things that I would like you to keep in mind while looking at this complete session and while you go through that. Digital transformation is a journey which is related to change management. And it, as Mustafa said, digital transformation starts with the ERP as the base. And automation is obviously the baseline, again, for digital transformation, technology, and transformation. These 4 words, just keep this in mind while we go through the next 15 minutes or so. Yes, please, next. So, I mean, this is something which I present every time, actually, when I present at ERP conference. So this is a slide that talks about how the world looked like in 2018, how every minute passed. So if you look at the statistics for 2018, these are going to be significantly different than the ones which I'm going to show you now. Let's move on to the next one, please. So this is how a minute looks like in 2021. This is the data as of July 2021. With COVID coming in, the culture change and everything, most of the things have already changed. So now as compared to that, look at the size of data that we are talking about. And data being at the heart of any change process, this is going to play a critical role in terms of what the world is going to look like in the future as well. So, how have we changed? Technology has changed education. Technology has played a major role in the healthcare, and it has changed our health. Lifestyle changes has happened a lot after the use of technology. There are new kinds of habits and new kinds of addictions coming up with the usage of smartphones and tabs and whatnot. The world is now concised into our palms. And at the same time, technology is making a difference between business processes and systems, which is going to be a key. But how all this is happening, this is all happening through the last one, which is on the bottom right corner, which is cloud computing. All this is happening because cloud is there. The data, the quantum data, and the big data is there. We know how to process, how to convert that data into information, how to use that information into decision making. So all that is possible with cloud in place. So what are the top 3 priorities of a business? Number 1, unparalleled customer experience. Number 2, new revenue streams. And number 3, optimized operational cost. So whenever we talk about change management, whenever we talk about digital transformation, whenever we talk about intelligent enterprise, whenever we talk about ERPs, these are the three core top business priorities, and these are the three core needs of the business due to which we adopt all these changes. So what are the key considerations when you actually select an ERP? So the first one is nature of business, which is related to the functionalities of the ERP. The second one is related to the future growth path, which is again, I mean, from an organization perspective, how the organization would be growing in the future. Number three, when you select an ERP, you need to look at what are the HR availability, what are the resources available if you go for a particular solution. And as Sajad Bhai just mentioned before that now there is no hard and fast rule that you need to go with a single solution all the time. So you need to like mix and match the best of the breed and then come up with the optimized solution, which is the best solution for your particular organization. Then you look at the solution in terms of the feasibility of business process re-engineering. How does it automate? How does it improve your operations and efficiencies? What is the ROI? How does it look like? And in terms of long-term sustainability, your service provider as well as your the solution itself that you're getting, the parent organization. What are the long-term plans of that organization? Can we move forward, please? So as we talk about, I mean, in terms of the ERP models, there are three ERP models, I mean, broadly available. And this is, I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. So the first is obviously the on-premises, where you buy the perpetual licenses, you get the, I mean, you purchase it one time, and then you buy the infrastructure and arrange the infrastructure internally, and then do on-premises hosting. The second option is cloud-based, which is the SaaS model essentially, and it's subscription-based, and it utilizes cloud hosting services as well as cloud users, cloud-based users. Just like, I mean, we use right now Facebook or LinkedIn or even Gmail, etc. All these are cloud-based solutions as examples. And the third one is hybrid model, where you buy the licenses or the users on a lifetime basis, and then you simply get infrastructure as a service from Azure or AWS or Huawei or whatever, or any other service provider, and you do the hosting over there. So broadly speaking, these are the three main models that we are talking about, and we will be talking about this moving forward as well. Yes, please. So just, I mean, in terms of the advantages and the disadvantages of on-premises solutions. If, for example, if you're hosting your servers internally and everything is on the intranet, then you can operate without any internet as such, which is required. You have the control over your environment because it is internally hosted. Data security, yes, that is a question mark as well as something which is there, because I've written it over here as the advantage, and that can act as a disadvantage as well. And then at times there are regulatory compliances as well. Like, for example, in the financial sector, there are regulatory compliances due to which some of the organizations, they cannot host the data on external servers or external cloud. As far as the disadvantages are concerned, there is a very high infrastructure cost involved with an on-premises solution. There is a very high maintenance cost involved into it as well. Then high payroll cost, because you need to have like in-house resources to manage that, not only the solution, but also the infrastructure, networking, etc. All these things as well. Then upgrades is definitely an issue with the on-premises solutions, because you would be dependent upon the vendor, as well as you would be dependent upon your own resources as well in terms of getting the things upgraded. And there is obviously an ability, there is a problem in terms of ability to scale as well with the on-premise solutions. Now, if we talk about the cloud solutions, on the contrary. So in terms of the advantages, one of the major advantages of using the cloud-based ERP solutions is the elimination of capital expenditure. So you have the operating expenditure expenses in this case, but there are no capital expenditure involved. You don't need to buy any infrastructure, no servers, no nothing at all. All you require is a machine and a browser on it. There is low maintenance because all the things are being taken care of by the service provider, as well as the cloud solution provider. There is enhanced accessibility, enhanced security, definitely, because you get essentially the security which is on a world-class basis, and all the certifications, etc. The clouds, if you have like even if you're using just the infrastructure as a service, even in that case as well, there is a lot of security that is being taken care of. Most of the times, there is a single version running at all the clients. There are regular data backups, so you don't need to worry about that. And there is an uptime guarantee. So when you buy the services, the service provider would provide you the guarantee as well in terms of that, for example, 99.9% uptime or 99.95% uptime. So you don't need to worry about whether the link would go down or something. It's their headache, essentially. In terms of disadvantages, one disadvantage is definitely that it is dependent upon the connectivity, which is internet and the user experience. The costs can balloon with little warning, which is a thing to be considered on. And the access is based upon the connection. Now here I've written that there is a myth about security concerns, because that is, to me, it's just a myth. It's not a reality. The reality is that security is being taken care of at the highest level when you opt for a cloud-based solution, because there is not one organization that is going to use that. There are going to be like multiple organizations, thousands of organizations, which are going to use the same services, same solutions. So essentially, in terms of security, that is being well taken care of. So the factors that you look at while selecting the model. The first factor is obviously the cost, which is capital expenditure versus operating expense. The second factor that you look at is the security. As I mentioned, this is a very important point. So that is a factor that you definitely look at. The third factor is regulatory compliance. Whether the industry that you're operating in, whether the geography that you're operating in, whether that allows the data to go out of the premises or not. If it does, cloud is the solution. There is no second choice about it. Then in terms of maintenance again, I mean, not only in terms of the infrastructure itself, but maintenance in terms of the availability of the human resources, and then the cost that you incur through that maintenance as well. So that is another factor that you look at. Then data recovery and restoration. What measures can you take? How much can you bear? If you're using cloud services, then you don't necessarily need to worry about these factors at all. Mobility and accessibility. And finally, the performance and enhancements. So in terms of conclusion, the four things that you need to look at, the four things that you need to keep in mind is, firstly, is your organization ready to adapt the change? The organization is going to embark into a journey. It's a journey which is not that you're buying a product or a software. You're buying a solution. You're buying a solution that is going to, you're going to implement and adapt something which is going to change the way the organization is working. So is your organization ready to adapt the change, or what do you require? What does the organization require to make itself ready for the change? As an organization, again, are you ready? As an organization, are you ready for an enterprise level application or a suite of applications? Like Sajjad Saab also mentioned, that it's not just the ERP that the organization is going to purchase or implement now. It is going to be a suite of solutions, essentially, that the organization would look at while buying it. So it may be a combination of ERP plus BI plus machine learning plus artificial intelligence plus whatnot. I mean, RPA for that matter. So the organization is going to become more intelligent. So is the organization ready to adapt those solutions, or is it going to like take some time before that? Then, how much mobile first readiness does the organization have? Because that is another point which the organizations need to look at in terms of accessibility. And finally, are you a cloud mature organization? A very important point, because in terms of cloud, the change management is more as compared to the traditional measures. As the earlier speaker also talked about, that if you're only upgrading the existing solution, if you're only buying infrastructure as a service, etc., you're not a cloud ready or cloud mature organization. So essentially, the organization needs to be cloud mature to go towards the path. And in terms of the future, cloud is the future. All the organizations globally are adapting to it. I mean, not on the client, only on the client side, but also in terms of the principal side, the vendor side as well. Everybody is now focusing upon that, because in terms of the data that you get through that, in terms of the accessibility that you get through cloud, in terms of the reliability and security that you get to cloud, that is second to none. With that, I conclude the presentation. If there are any questions, please let me know. There is a question.
Can you hear me? Okay. So reference to the problem resolution management of cloud, let me talk about and will park a question to you that how do you manage the disaster recovery plan in terms of any outage related to the cloud service management? The related question is how do you manage the accessibility of the multiple devices? For example, a lot of firms would be interested to get the cloud on board, but without the accessibility of their multiple devices, like Chinese-based devices, would not be able to configure with the cloud management system. So how do you cater it? My name is Majid Qureshi. I'm IoT expert from Telenor, Pakistan.
All right. Majid, great question. In terms of the accessibility and in terms of the adaptability of cloud-based applications on the devices that you're talking about, which are essentially the non-compliant devices, I guess that is where you're heading towards. So there are obviously two ways to look at it. Number one is that all the solution providers, they are now enhancing their portfolio in terms of making the devices more compliant. I mean, more devices compliant actually with their solutions, number one. And secondly, if there are any issues in terms of the compliance, then the local partners, they are the ones who are responsible to ensure that the solutions that they are bringing to the market and the solutions that they are providing to the clients, they then ensure that those are ready in terms of the geography, in terms of the local available machines, that is ready. I'll give you an example actually, which is like not related essentially, but it is related to, again, go back to ERP 1.0 that Sajjad talked about in the earlier presentation. That there is a, just keep in mind that there is a payroll solution, for example. And then there are some devices through which that payroll is hooked up. So there is company A that provides the thumb impression devices or biometric devices, essentially company B, company C, company D. So in older times, they were just like, I mean, the payroll solutions were just compliant with 1 or 2 or 3 of such organizations which were there in terms of the biometric devices. But now if you look at that, the same payroll solutions can be integrated with like hundreds of thousands of such vendors or devices as such. Similarly, the more we adapt this technology in terms of cloud, the more there is going to be the adaptability and compliance in terms of the adding more devices or more models to this. So yes, it'll take some time, but it is going to happen. I hope that answers. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.